Satvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishada Vinamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostude Taptaka Anjana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanasude Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhesha Kripa Sindhupe Evacha Aditana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhudale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swaminne Viramine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshtarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna everyone. So let's start with 2.12. So before I forget, what is the size of the soul? You can all unmute and answer. What's the size of the soul, you know? Yes?
Like
1 by 10,000, the tip of
end of the hair.
Yes, 1 by 10,000, the tip of the hair. Very good. So what is the size of the super soul? What's the size of the super soul? Soul and super soul exist together in our heart, right? And Rajesh Prabhu was last week discussing about the cardiac surgeon and how the heart transplantation takes place. Is everyone clear with the concept of heart transplantation? You know what happens to the soul? Where does it go? What is actually happening in a heart transplant case? Does everyone know in this class? If you don't know, you can raise your digital hand so we can discuss that part again. Okay. So what is the size of super soul? Saheli Bose Mataji? You don't know what happens in heart transplantation?
No, Mataji, I don't know because I was on trip. I couldn't attend the class.
Okay. No problem. So what happens, Mataji? Like it's when the transplant happens, actually we say the soul is situated in the heart, right? That's the place, the resting place of the soul. So when you take another heart, that person would be in a brain death stage or maybe already died, in the sense that soul already left. Okay, so the heart which has been taken out, it doesn't have a soul inside. So there is no two souls there, means in that story. So the heart which is taken out from the dead person, the soul is already gone. So it's just an organ, the myocardium, the muscles of the heart, and just an organ. Okay, just a physical organ. Now it is taken. Now if my heart is defective, what happens? The cardiac surgeon opens the chest and then he takes my heart out and keeps another heart. So what has happened to the soul is the soul can move, in between the eyebrows, and this part, it's not clearly said, it's just here, it's just between this part and then mostly near the eyebrows. It moves there and stays there for till the time it is being transplanted. Okay, so that my defective heart is taken and the new heart is put. Then once it's repaired, the soul comes back and sits back in the heart. That's it. It's just a sitting place of that. Like for example, I gave this. What is the example I gave about the heart transplant? Easy to remember.
The table example, Mataji, if the carpenter is coming and fixing the table, so we can get up, sorry, the chair, we will get up from the chair.
Yes.
And we'll
Very
come back
good.
and
So,
sit on the chair.
Yeah, so if this chair is defective, one leg is broken, I get up from the chair, the carpenter comes, repairs or keeps another chair, I come back and sit there, just like that. So the carpenter here is the surgeon, and then I as such is the soul, and just goes and comes. That's it. There's no big thing, there's no concept of two souls and all happening there. So the size of the soul is 1 by 10,000, the tip of the hair, Kesha Grishata, it is given, and the size of super soul is given, it is 8 inches, in the sense the distance between your ring finger and your thumb. Like when you see this distance, it is said that this is the ring finger, we put ring here, it's a ring and the thumb, so it's almost like 8 inches long. So that's the size of the super soul. We can't see, but then it's given in Bhagavatam, I think first canto, second chapter, somewhere it is given, specifically mentioned. And Krishna can take any space, say shape. Anoraniya Mahado Mahiya. There are 8 siddhis, Ashta siddhis called. He can become smaller than the smallest, bigger than the biggest, lighter than the lightest. Varahadev came from where? Lord Varaha. Those who attended the Dashavatar stories of Bhakti Siddharaja Course. Varahadev appeared from where? From someone's nose, from the nostrils of Brahma. So when Lord Varaha, who can appear from the nostrils of Brahma, something has to come from your nose, it has to be very small. And then it became so huge, right? And what about Vamanadev? He came for like dwarf and then he became so huge. So Krishna can become smaller than the smallest, greater than the greatest, heavier than the heaviest, lighter than the lightest, anything. But then specifically, it is given the size of the 8-inch, that is between the ring finger and the thumb size. And Krishna, when did Krishna become a thumb size and entered into somebody's womb to protect someone?
To protect Parikshit Maharaj.
Very good. And whose womb?
Uttara.
Very nice. Uttara, yes. So she was being, means Ashwathama, who's Dronacharya's son, Ashwathama, was about to send his Brahmastra. And then Uttara ran to Krishna. And it's a beautiful song, verse in Bhagavatam. Pahi pahi mahayogim deva deva jagatpade nanyatvat avayam pashyet yatra mrityu parasparam. Oh Krishna, I don't have any other rescue except you. So this is what it is said. All the pregnant ladies should chant this sloka every day. It's like to protect the baby in the womb. So like Krishna and came into the size of a thumb, became the size of a thumb and entered into Uttara's womb. Who's Uttara? Arjuna's daughter-in-law. Right? Yes. So Arjuna's son is right, Abhimanyu, and Abhimanyu and Uttara had Parikshit Maharaj. So Uttara was running to Krishna, please help me. At the same time, Krishna was speaking to Kunti Maharani. Kunti Maharani was offering prayers. Krishna was hearing the prayers by Kunti Maharani. And then the same time, Uttara came running because Ashwathama wanted to destroy the last person of the dynasty of the Pandavas. So and then Uttara ran to Krishna, and then Krishna became the size of a thumb. So that's given in Bhagavatam. So again, that's the size of the super soul. Now we'll see about the sloka 12. Natva evaham jadunasham natvam me janatipaha nachaivam na bhavishyama sarve vayam adapparam. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any one of us cease to. Everyone took Ekadashi yesterday, right? Is there anyone who didn't take? You're all in Bhakti Shastri course. So definitely somehow see that you take Ekadashi, every Ekadashi. You don't have to take Nirjal. You can take grain. You can't take grains and cereals, but you can take fruits and milk and everything. Okay. So please take all the Ekadashis because it really helps you. Okay. So what does Krishna mean by saying? What are the two philosophy Krishna is refuting, or in this sloka? What are the two things Krishna refutes in this sloka by saying that never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you? What are the two things Krishna is repeating? Shraddha Mataji.
Ma'am, one thing I know that we are two forms, we are separate. Like soul is separate and super soul is separate. So we are different. We are not one with the God.
Yeah, so that means not one. So which is the philosophy which says we are one?
Mayavadi says
Very
that.
good. Mayavadi. So Krishna is refuting Mayavadism in this sloka by saying that you are very nice. You're right, Mataji. Very nice answer. So it is said, never there was a time when I did not exist, nor you. So Krishna is saying that I am separate, you are separate. In the sense that super soul is Paramatma. Krishna is the super soul. You've seen Madhvacharya's picture in Udupi. He's sitting like this. It means we are not one, we are two. The Advaita philosophy by Shankaracharya is like we are one. The Mayavadi says we are one. And today's Bhagavatam class, please attend Bhagavatam class. Like Namnishta Prabhu was saying, the Mayavadis are like sitting on the what is it, on the wall of a jail. So the materialistic people are we are all in the jail. We are all in the jail. This is first class, second class, third class jail. This is jail. There is suffering and everything here. So we are here. Now the Mayavadis, they are not in the spiritual world outside the jail, or neither inside the jail. They are on the wall of the jail and they feel bored there. There's nothing to be done. There's Brahmananda, there's no Sevananda, there's no service. And then they fall down again. They come back to the jail to enjoy. But we should not be like that. So here, Krishna is refuting the theory by saying that I exist, you also exist, Arjuna. That means the living entity, the soul is different. The super soul as Paramatma, as Krishna is different. That means he's refuting Mayavadism here. Very good. What is the next philosophy Krishna is refuting here? Yes, Prajesh Prabhu.
Like one more thing in the purport, it is given that like we should not consider Krishna to also be a conditioned soul like this.
Yes, yes. So whose philosophy is that? Who is the one? Who are the kinds? Who are those people who think Krishna is just an ordinary person? Who
Atheist.
does? Atheist. Very good. Yes, atheist. So Krishna is refuting two philosophies. That means, what are the atheists saying? Lord doesn't exist. God, why are you doing Hare Krishna, Hare Ram? Why are you going to temple? God doesn't exist. We are only God. I mean, atheist kind of people. So Krishna says, I exist. There never was there a time I did not exist. That means Krishna exists. No? For example, if an engineer have taken a building, constructed a building, engineer was there before the building. The building was created by the engineer. That means engineer was there before the building. Similarly, creation, the world is created by Krishna. So Krishna is there before the creation, right? And he is maintaining, and he is there after annihilation. Krishna is always there. But the atheist people are saying that the Lord doesn't exist. So the two things Krishna refute in this sloka is the Mayavadism, that they say that we are one with the Lord. So it's been refuted because Krishna says you and me. He's separating, right? He is making the difference that we are not one, we are the same, we are different. And atheism, atheists or the non-believers or non-devotees, they say that the Lord doesn't exist. But here Krishna himself says, I exist. Right? So Krishna himself says, I was hearing Prabhupada's lecture. Prabhupada says, if you are intelligent, you should take what Krishna says as it is. Like Krishna is explaining, he's a supreme personality Godhead. He himself is coming and saying that I exist. So definitely Krishna exists. And Prabhupada says, when some non-believers, atheists are saying the Lord doesn't exist, doesn't mean the Lord doesn't exist. No? So the pure devotees have seen the Lord. The supreme personality Godhead is the supreme individual person. He's a person. And Arjuna is the Lord's eternal associate. Now all the kings assembled there are individual eternal persons. It's not that they did not exist as individuals in the past. It is not they will not remain eternal persons. Their individuality exists in the past, and individuality will continue in the future without interruption. Therefore, there is no cause for lamentation. So here, individuality exists. Okay. So imagine a parrot going into a green tree. What happens? From far, if you look the tree, can you really make out the parrot?
No, Mataji.
You can't. But as you go nearby, you can see the parrot. Not real. It's the parrot is there. Similarly, yeah, camouflage. Very good. Yes, that's what it is said. So similarly, Mayavadis say that we become one with the God. One merge. We gave an example of bubbles in the ocean. There are small bubbles. When the waves come, there are bubbles created. The bubbles merge into the ocean. Okay, and then they blast and merge. That's the Mayavadis. They like to merge in the Lord. And then again, when the waves come, again bubbles are formed. That means they take rebirth again. But a devotee likes to be a fish in the ocean. What does the fish do? Like the big fish, like pure devotees, the big fish, they go down deep inside the ocean and see the beautiful pebbles and marbles and what all the diamonds and the pearls. No? Everything they see and they enjoy in the ocean of ecstasy, in this ocean of the Sindhu. I mean, that's how pure devotees are. So here it is said that we should say that the individuality exists. The green bird going into the green tree, it looks like Mayavadism that they are becoming one. But no, we don't become one with the Lord. Even after liberation, our individuality exists. Like the bird is different individual and the tree is a different living entity. Right? So like that, when we go to the spiritual world, we become like the bird or like the fish in the ocean. Now we are like the fish outside the ocean. Just imagine you put a fish outside the water. What will happen? It will be like water in whatever situation you put it in a golden plate or silver plate or diamond plate, whatever plate you put without water, the fish is going to die. The fish is going to be like, longing for air, oxygen, because it is happy only in the water. Even if it's a muddy water, he's happy there. Similarly, even if we are in a very poverty situation, but if we are doing devotional service to Krishna, the living entity is happy. Whichever place we are, but if we are not doing devotional service, definitely we are not going to be happy. That's the reason why all these film stars and all suicides, because they have every facility in life, but still they don't have that real happiness from the soul. So the Mayavadi theory is that after liberation, the individual soul separated by the Maya or illusion, will merge into the impersonal Brahman. Now that's called Sayuja Mukti. That's what they think. But that's called Vimukta Manina. They think they are liberated, but they are not. And lose its individual existence. This is what Mayavadi philosophy is. Okay. But then Krishna is not supporting that thing. He is saying that not the theory that we only think of individuality in the conditioned state supported here. Krishna clearly says here in that in future also the individuality of the Lord and others is there as confirmed in the Upanishads will continue. Okay. So the Mayavadis are like bee licking the bottle of honey, right? The bee thinks that outside the honey bottle, there'll be a little bit of stains and it licks it and think, oh, this is nectar. But if you open the bottle and then dive into it, the honey, then you drink nectar. That's a real nectar. Outside is just not the real taste. So Mayavadis from outside, they can't really enjoy the pleasure in devotional service unless they dive into devotional service. And who is the bottle opener for all of us? Who's the one who opens the bottle for us? Yes, Shraddha Mataji.
Like Prabhupada, a pure devotee, Mataji. He helps
Prabhupada,
us.
yes.
Yeah.
Like Srila Prabhupada. So all our Gurujans, all our spiritual masters, our Shiksha Gurus, Diksha Gurus, they are the one who actually, it's a Shiksha Guru, the first Guru. For most of us, it's Navanishta Prabhu, who actually started opening the bottle. And then many Shiksha Gurus came, then finally it opened, and then the real Guru, the Diksha Guru, comes spiritual master and takes us inside. So the two theories refuted is Mayavadism and atheism. Okay, you read the puppet, you can see that Krishna has put, and he have quoted one verse here, Prabhupada, Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Eko Bahunamiyo Vidadadi Kaman. That means Krishna is eternal, we are also eternal. Krishna is, but then we are minute part and parcel. Only in quality we are same with the Lord. Eko Bahunamiyo Vidadadi Kaman means just one person is enough to maintain all of us. Prabhupada is saying, you see the in Africa, the thousands of forest, elephants in the forest, and even at your house, small holes, there are thousands of ants inside. Who's maintaining them? Like a dark night, Amavasi, and it's a dark, pitch dark forest, and there's a dark black rock, and there's a black ant on the rock. Who maintains it? You keep one sugar candy here, and then in a minute, thousands of ants come. Who's informing them that there is a sweet here? So it's a Paramatma inside them. So it's Krishna, it says, Eko Bahunamiya Vidadadikama, he maintains. Even the atheists, non-believers are also maintained by the Lord, but they don't believe it. So here it is said, the non-devotees approach the teachings of Gita having tasting like the bee licking the bottle of honey. That's a comparison analogy that's given in the purport. It's a long purport, but then it has a refuting Mayavadism and atheism. Oh, hope that purport is clear for you, right? How Krishna refute. So if somebody comes from a Mayavadi or an atheist class, you can quote this sloka and you say, see, Krishna says, I exist, you exist. Krishna also says that I always exist. There was never time I never existed, right? He's also always there. Dehinosmin, this sloka has to be memorized for all of you. Dehinosmin yada dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara tada dehandara praptir dhiras tatra namohyadi. Dehinosmin yada dehe, as the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes to another body at the time of death. Dehandara praptir. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. So what happens? So someone came to Prabhupada and said, why can't we remember our previous janmas? Why are we not able to remember? So Prabhupada's like, can you remember this janma, what all happened? Can you really remember at 1 year old age, what all things we did? Might be some small incident we can remember, might be it's in our impression in the mind, but then really we can't really think. What is the function of the mind? Mind, intelligence, and false ego is the subtle body, no? What is its function? What does the mind do? The three things which the mind do. No idea? Actually, there are three functions of the mind, and also there are two natures of the mind. So three functions of the mind is thinking, willing, and feeling. The mind thinks, the thinking is done by the mind, and willing, we want to do something willing, and feel, the emotions come from the mind. So thinking, willing, and feeling. thinking, feeling, and willing. So this is for the mind. And what are the two things which it does is accepting and rejecting. There's the two things Prabhupada mentions, that it accepts some things and the mind is the one who rejects something. So if it is like you've seen some children who are born who don't even have trained in some musical instrument. Like recently I saw like a violin player, guitarist, and small kids, and then they're not trained, but then they are able to play very well. Even in Vaishnava family, we can see some small kids who are playing mridanga very nicely. They're not trained. They should be trained to play a mridanga, but then they do it. How is it possible? Past life memory. So it's been in the mind. It's like deep impression. Such things we can hear. Did you all hear about Shanti Devi? Shanti Devi? Yeah. Mahatma Gandhi took it up. Reincarnation of Shanti Devi. Pravina must just remind me. I can post it in the group. She died because of her childbirth. She died because of a childbirth, and after 1 year she was reborn in some other place. And she remembered she was in Madura before, and her kid and husband was there in Madura. So when this girl became like 9-year-old, she could recollect, I'm not this person. I was Shanti last Janma, and my husband and child is still there in Madura. I remember my house. So Mahatma Gandhi was so impressed in those days, and what is happening. He wanted to really know whether she's lying or what is it, what is reincarnation. And he arranged a group of scientists, and all of them, they went to Madura, and they discovered, they could see that she could identify everyone. She was 9-year-old and her son was 10-year-old. Because that 1 year gap, her soul got reincarnated. She died because of childbirth, and she could recognize her husband. She could recognize everything. And she was saying so many things, which her husband was like shocked. And then the studies came about reincarnation. And you can also see in YouTube, so many kids, almost like 5,000, the research people have taken impressions. Those who died of gunshot will have a birthmark of that gunshot in the next Janma. So many things. And one kid was saying that I was an army officer last Janma and I died because of this. So many things. So what is this all? That's like from the past life, the memory that's been in the mind. It's an impression. But not everything we'll remember. So Prabhupada's like, we are made to forget by Krishna. Krishna says, Matta smriditjnanam apohanam cha. Krishna gives you remembrance. Krishna gives you forgetfulness. Just imagine if we could remember all the 84 lakh species of Janmas, if we could remember, how horrible life will be. Because my soul would be in a form of an animal last Janma. Don't know, Krishna knows. So might be I was in a lion's body or a monkey's body. And what all would I have done in that Janma? So even if that I remember, how horrible it will be to live. But this Janma only, people can't take the stress and so many tragedies happening in life. So it's forgetfulness is also Krishna's blessing that we forget so many other things. It says that we should forget all bad things which people have done, and we should forget what good things we have done to others. Forget bad things what people did to us, and forget good things what we did to others. Okay, so this part is clear. So what happens? The soul is the same, but then yes, Prajesh Prabhu.
Mataji, I have a question. Mataji, I'll ask now. Like remembrance is in the mind or in the soul? Like mind is the subtle body, right? Like it comes.
Mind is the subtle body. So soul and the subtle body is always together. It's not separated, no, Prabhu. When the soul leaves the body, the subtle body also goes with it.
Yes, Mataji. Suppose like we get elevated to like spiritual world, that time also like subtle body will continue along with us.
No, the subtle body is only in the material world. Their mind, intelligence, and there is no false ego in spiritual life. No, in spiritual body, there's no false ego. Spiritual intelligence will go with you, like whatever you know about spiritual things. But material intelligence will remain here, and the mind, everything is material concept. There, it is only the soul who's Sachidananda Swarup.
So we won't remember, like if we go to the spiritual world, we won't remember the material world, like what and all births we had.
Why we want to remember? We want to forget now. We want to remember only Krishna. It said that if you remember material world, it means you're forgetting Krishna. And Krishna Buliya Jeev Bhog Vanja Kare. Chaitanya Charitamrita says, when we forget Krishna, we are going for sense gratification. So we don't, in spiritual body, we don't remember anything except Krishna, nothing else. Because you are already, when you are liberated, you are already in the bhava stage or prema stage, and you know your soul has a relationship with Krishna. You know which relation you are in. Either are you a gopi with in Krishna's world, are you a gopa or saka of Krishna, are you a cow in the spiritual world? Anything in the spiritual world is eternal, right? Are you a grass in Vrindavan? Whatever it is, our eternal position will develop at that time, and then we'll never think about anything in material world. Never. If you think you have to take a rebirth, no?
Yes.
So they don't.
Yes, Mataji. I heard somewhere like they were like, if you have intense desire like to see Srila Prabhupada, now we are not able to see him. Like if we have that desire to see him, like when we go to Goloka and like if we ask it to like Lord Krishna, then we'll be able
that
to.
Is different. See, seeing Srila Prabhupada is a spiritual desire, right?
Yes.
It's a spiritual thing, not material.
Yeah.
Prabhupada is, so Prabhupada is, now that's another thing which you said was good. I was hearing in Prabhupada's disappearance day in Vrindavan, I was there, and all Prabhupada's disciples came there. And one of the disciples said, Prabhupada is not in the spiritual world. What do you answer for that, Prajesh Prabhu? He said, Prabhupada is not in the spiritual world. We were like, what? Prabhupada is a pure devotee. He is not in the Goloka now. Where will we go? Yes, Kripa Bandaji.
Yes, Mataji. Mataji, he's preaching in some demoniac planet.
Yeah, he's preaching in some other hellish planet.
Yeah.
That's what. Because in spiritual world, there is no preaching. All are pure devotees in spiritual world. You go to Goloka, you go to Vaikunta, everyone are devotees there. No, what to preach there? Everyone are devotees, pure devotees. How do you go and preach to pure devotees? So it said that the devotee was saying that Prabhupada is such a preacher that he can't sit idle. He has to work for Krishna. So he is in some other hellish planet, like we have Atala, Sutala, Tala, Tala, Rasatala, Patala. He's somewhere in the hellish planet, or might be some other universe in the Earth planet. There are millions of universal system universe, and then in some other planet, Prabhupada is preaching. That's why Prabhupada is taking all his disciples there. He's creating another international society for Krishna consciousness in some other planet, some other hellish planet, because as a pure devotee, he can't sit idle without preaching. He wants to take all the souls back to Godhead. He was telling in a comedy way, but then yes, definitely he is in spiritual world. He is not in a material thing, but then that's what pure devotees are. Pure devotees doesn't want to be liberated. They are happy wherever they are, even in hellish planet, if they could do devotional service. So here you can see how the soul is transmigrating from one body to another at the time of death. Now, based on so many things, your karma, your desires, your thought at the time of death, and also karanam guna sangha asya, whichever mode of nature we are associated with. So, but then what happens at the time of birth? There is a soul. So the soul comes at what day? When a mother is pregnant, when there is an embryo, where there's life. When does the soul actually enters the embryo? Or at that, you got my question? In the womb of the mother. Yes. What day? Which day it enters? You can guess. There's so many mothers in this class. Well, I experienced.
Mataji, is it that when the one body leaves, the soul leaves, that's when already the next body is prepared? So is it like immediate?
Immediately. No, you're telling at how when the soul enters the baby's womb, baby's body, the embryo. Yes, at the time of conception. Yes, when it is said that Krishna, based on your karma, deposits the soul on the semen of the father. Whoever is based on our karma, we can't select our parents. Nobody of us did. If we could have already all selected, millennia as our parents. But then we are forced to, because based on karma, the parents and children, husband, wife, son, mother, daughter, all of them share karma. Grandparents, everyone have some common karma in between. That's why, otherwise, why you are born at those particular souls, son or daughter. So there is a karma sharing. Now, based on your karma, your soul is forced or pushed by material nature into the semen of your father, and then you are pushed to the womb of the mother. At that time, when the embryo and the egg and the sperm meet, at the time of conception, at the day one itself, there is soul. Some people say abortion can be done. Why? Because at 3 months only the soul comes. Really? If the soul is not there, then how is the embryo growing? How is mitosis, meiosis and all happen, and the embryo just comes in, and then get attached to the wall of the uterus, and then it develops, right? So from day one, there is the embryo, there is a soul. So definitely, whatever day you kill the soul, that abortion is done, it's sinful, very sinful. And it is that whoever does that goes to the darkest region of hell, because you don't have rights to take a soul. I mean, take up someone's life. So it is said that it's very sinful. And I was hearing Prabhupada's lecture. Prabhupada says, why that soul has been getting aborted? Because that soul is sinful. That soul is sinful. That soul have done some murder in previous janma. So it's coming back to him. Like whoever does kill someone will die in the next janma by someone. So it is said that soul is sinful. Okay, I'm going somewhere. So Bhishma and Drona, being noble souls, were surely going to have spiritual bodies in the next life, right? So Arjuna was worried to kill Bhishma and Drona because they are acharyas and senior and gurujans to him. But then Krishna is saying, why are you worried? They are already old. So anyway, if they die, they are pious, they'll get heavenly planets, or they'll get a spiritual body. No, at least they'll get a heavenly body for superior enjoyment of material existence. So in either case, why are you worrying? There's no cause of lamentation, right? So either they get a spiritual body, Bhishma and Drona, or they'll go to heavenly planet. So you don't have to worry, Arjuna. You don't have to worry killing Bhishma and Drona. Okay. So the soul, the example given is like when we are in LKG, UKG, the kindergarten, we are getting a tricycle to ride. Might be 4 wheels or something. Then as we grow old, 4th standard, 5th standard, we have a bicycle. Then as we grow much older, then there'll be a scooty in college and all. And then as you grow old, you're working and all, you have a car, 4-wheeler. So who is driving the four vehicles? We. The driver doesn't change, right? But the external vehicle is changing. Similarly, the body is changing. When the child has a smaller body, and then as we grow, the body becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. But the soul doesn't change, right? The outside car might change, but then the soul doesn't change. And when my car is broken down, it's not to be used anymore, I buy a new car. And then as a driver, I shift from this driving position to that position. That means at the time of death, when this body is not to be used anymore, then we shift. The soul gets transmigrated to another body. Okay, so that's the concept of transmigration. So this concept has to be really clear about the transmigration, because this is what the whole Bhagavad Gita moves around, this concept of soul. I hope it's clear. Now Krishna says about happiness and distress. Matra sparshasthu kaunteya shitoshna sukha agama paino anityat samsti dakshasya bharata. I think even this sloka is to memorize. Just see the sloka memorization list: 1.1, 2.7, 2.13, and 1.4. 2.7, 2.13. So please try to learn the slokas. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like appearance and disappearance of winter and summer season. They arise from sense perception, O son of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without getting disturbed. So tolerance, like whatever, because it's all karma coming back. We are happy, we are suffering, all because of our karma. Who are we blaming to? Whenever we suffer, we blame others, no? And I do most of the time, because of you I'm suffering, because of you I'm doing. No, it's because of our karma, my karma, I'm suffering. Then that time we don't realize, but then yes. And when we are happy, we don't say to anyone, we're like, oh, I'm enjoying because of me. No, that difference is there. So Prabhupada says here, summer and winter keeps coming and going. You don't have to, work for it. It comes automatically. Similarly, I mean, you don't have to work for distress to come. It comes automatically. Right? So here it is said, this is the austerity. One has to take bath early in the morning, even during the month of Magha. That means winter season. It's very cold at that time, but still they take bath and Brahma Muhurta and chant the rounds and do spiritual activities. Similarly, a woman does not hesitate to cook during summer season. Even it's very hot, it's sweating, still she cooks for her family, right? When it's the summer season. Similarly, you have to execute his duty in spite of climatic inconveniences. To fight is the religious principle of Kshatriya. Arjuna has to fight. right? Although one has to fight with some friend or relative, one should not deviate from his prescribed duty. So Krishna says, it's just temporary. The two different names are addressed given to Arjuna as Kaunteya and Bharata. What is the difference? Why is Arjuna addressed as Kaunteya and why is Bharata in the sloka? Yes, Shraddha Mataji.
Because Kunti is Arjun's mother, so his address is Kaunteya, son of Kunti, and Bharata, King Bharata is, I think, his forefather or grandfather, I think.
Father's
he
side.
said,
So
yeah,
from both the side, he is related. Yeah. So you see the purport, the 14th sloka, the last paragraph, it is given. Kunti son and King Bharata son. Yes. So the two terms that is used is Kaunteya and Bharata by Krishna. Okay, all these are Bhakti Shastri questions you should be knowing. Avinashti tu tadvidhi yena sarvam itam tatam vinasham avyayasya nakashit kartumarhari. That which pervades the entire body you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. So later on, Krishna is going to say the properties of the soul, right? That it cannot be cut with the weapon, it cannot be burned, it cannot be withered by wind and all that. So we should know that the soul is indestructible. It cannot be destroyed. So this concept, Arjuna has to be made clear. Not Arjuna, us. We have to be clear that it is indestructible. What is spread all over the body is consciousness. And the symptoms of the soul, the presence of the soul is consciousness. So what are the different level of consciousness, you know? Does anyone know? There are different levels of consciousness. We are in which consciousness? And the babies are in, yes, Pravina Mat.
I'm not very sure. There is the sleeping, the dreaming one, Sapnavastha and Jagritavastha, Surya, and the one, that one, Mataji, is it that one?
Sapnavastha, Jagritavastha, no, that is, yes, that is a subconscious mind will be there, but the consciousness is based on the knowledge, the spiritual part. Okay, you are right in the subconscious part. Okay, now here it is said we have Annamaya Kosha. Now these are the conscious level, like some like the babies. Anandamaya. So yes, Shraddha Mataji, that's the highest consciousness. Like so, Annamaya is the babies. You see, when they crawl, they want to put everything in the mouth. I mean, they think everything is to eat. Nothing else is there. Not only babies, even some low-born people, even Chandalas, they are like the dog eaters. It is said they just want to eat. They're not eating to live. They're living to eat. Something like that. I mean, foodie. You would have all seen somebody at your home or your friends and relatives just love to eat. Some new restaurant, come just go and eat. No, they don't have any other concept. This life is just to eat. Prabhupada was saying, you work hard and half of your salary you eat. Okay, junk foods and burger and this every day. And other half of the salary you give to gym. Whatever you ate, you're going there and you're working out so that the extra calories goes and you become slim. What is the use? No? They're not able to control the senses. Feasting on Ekadashi, that is different. Feasting on Ekadashi is spiritual. The prasadam, because we have prasad, so that is different concept. And Sunday feast by Srila Prabhupada, that's to attract common people to ISKCON. And Jagannath Puri, it is said, if you go, you have to eat. You get a lot of mercy. Okay, so consciousness is Annamaya. So some people, like a baby consciousness, they just know they want to eat, nothing else. They're not eating prasad and all. They're eating something else, sinful. And that is Annamaya Kosha. As you go up, there is something called as Pranamaya Kosha, that you have a feeling, oh, I'm living. That means, oh, I'm breathing, or you're a little more highly elevated, not just I'm eating, little bit pranamaya. Okay, I'm little different from animals, so that pranamaya. Then jnanamaya. Jnanamaya means you understand. You are not like an animal form, and then your thinking, willing, and feeling will start with the mind. And vijnanamaya, you understand, I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul. The next is anandamaya. Anandamaya kosha is the Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma stage, or the highest consciousness of Krishna consciousness, feeling transcendental bliss and happiness. So just imagine, we have gone through all these stages in different janmas. 4 lakh human species are based on this consciousness level. So we have gone through all these janmas and we've reached kind of Anandamaya stage. So we should not come down. We are almost in the highest platform of consciousness level. So it said this is the size of the soul, which we know. Keshakrashada Bhatasya. Upper point of the hair is divided 1 by 10,000. That's the measurement of the soul. And super soul, I already told. The atomic soul is floating in 5 kinds of air. Prana, Apana, Vyana, Samana, Udana. Okay, so where is the soul situated in a tree? Okay, for living entities, the soul is situated in a heart. But amoeba, microorganisms, they doesn't have a heart. So where is the soul situated for them? Yes, Shraddha Mataji.
Mataji, throughout the body, because you said our whole body and every atom is the soul. There are millions and millions of soul in a body. So it's entirely spread
the
over
conscious soul, the one conscious soul will be there, no? The dominating. Yeah. Where is that situated? Samir Prabhu says root. No. Seed? No. You can guess. Yes, Rajat Prabhu.
Ma'am, that Mataji, the trunk.
Not trunk. Any other answer?
Seed?
Where is leaf? No.
Seed.
Seed, no.
Branches?
Huh?
Branches?
Branches, no. Anyway, you told all the parts of the tree. Yes, Kripa Mataji?
We said all parts of the tree, Mataji.
All parts
of the tree.
All parts, yeah. But yes, Shraddha Mataji is right in the sense, all part in the sense, it can be anywhere in the tree, but where is it? Because where it is specifically mentioned is, there are 5 kinds of air: Prana, Apana, Vyana, Samana, and Udana in any living entities. Even in the trees, there are 5 kinds of air. Wherever these 5 kinds of air concentrates, or wherever they come and meet, or wherever there is a concentration is more, that's where the soul is. That's what it is said. And when the soul leaves the body, each of these prana, there are 5 kinds of air, it seems it pass like one by one, something like that. You can see some people, they take a deep breath when they pass. You know, you would have seen your grandparents or someone, or in an ICU, in a ventilator, they'll be like taking deep breath. And then there's a pause. Then after some time again, they take breath. So sometimes when we declare death, when somebody is brought death or in the ICU, we don't declare immediately. When somebody died at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we declare it to 3:30, because we need to confirm that all the air passed from that person. He might take the one breath might go and the other 4 prana might stay in the body. So still there might be some waves, some kind of pulse. And then again, after half an hour, might be another prana will go. It's like that. The soul goes, but then the prana, the air, it seems it goes different. And how does the soul goes out of the body? How does it go out? Just like that, it goes out when it transmigrate, or when it is going.
What is it through eyes, nose, mouth, ears, yes, or genitals? What about the openings we have?
And what about the soul going through the head part, this part? That's for the yogis, okay? So we have 9 gates in our body: 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, then mouth, then genitals and rectum. So it is said that if someone dies, normal death, whatever it is, when the last bath is given, and then that time they know that there is some blood clots stain from the mouth, or maybe in the nose or ear. So it seems that the soul have left the body through that particular. And if there is no blood stain anywhere, and it's here, it is said that person go to samadhi, something like that. They are yogis who can concentrate the soul in this particular part. You know, they say that I'm going for samadhi. Some great souls, they do that. But yes, Praveena Mataji.
Mataji, I was just having a doubt. When the soul goes for the yogis from here, is there any sign, like some can you make out that it has gone from here? Like the other places, you can see blood clot and all. So here, will there be any?
Yes, little blood stains will be here. Little. You won't see it anywhere else. But then when they give the bath, they can see somewhere here. Yeah. So okay. So some great souls, they take samadhi. They say that they predict, I'm going to leave my body on such a day. You know, who was that? That they went to in samadhi. He was sitting, and the disciples built a samadhi for him. I don't remember. And somebody who woke up from the samadhi and came.
Mataji, wasn't that Adi Shankaracharya?
Raghavendra. Adi Shankaracharya, there's some story behind that. Yes, He came from the Samadhi, something like that. But he's Lord Shiva, that's different. But yes, Madhavendra, I know something I heard about that. Raghavendra, yes. So, okay. So these are about the prana. So wherever the prana accumulates, that's where the soul is. I won't finish now. Na jayate mriyate va kadashin nayam bhutva pavitava na puya ajo nitya shashvatoyam purana nahanyade hanyamane sharire. For the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing. Satchit Ananda, eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. And Prabhu was saying that we are asat. The material body is asat. Okay, that is sat means eternal. Eternal means sanatan, no beginning, no end. I mean, we can't trace out where because we are already always exist. No, the spirit soul always exists. Because of some bad karma, misusing your minute independence, we fell down. But then the spiritual body is sat, eternal. But the material body is asat. And spiritual body is chit, full of knowledge, but material body is ignorance. And spiritual body is ananda or bliss. And material body is dukhalema, shashana, very full of just the opposite. So we need to get a spiritual body. And that's possible by following the regulative principles and chanting the 16 rounds and all. So the body is subjected to 6 kinds of transformation. What is the transformation Prabhupada mentions in the purport? For the 6 transformation the body undergoes. Yes. See the purport, 20. Yes, Mataji.
Mataji, is it about that birth and then we exist and we slowly
Yes.
grow and then we,
Yeah.
dwindle and then we die?
Yeah. So first there is the we are born from the mother's womb and then we remains for some time, then we grows, then we reproduce, dwindle, and then finally decline. So these are the 6 transformations given. Take birth from the womb, then dwindles. No, first is take birth, and then there is it remains for some time, grows, produces some effects, gradually dwindles and vanish. These are the 6 kinds of transformation which the body undergoes. Okay, and what is the comparison given by the sun and the soul by Prabhupada? What is the comparison? Sun in the sky and the clouds and the conscious level. Only Shraddha Mataji is active in the class. What about others? All are sleeping. That's why we make Bhakti Shastri video on compulsory, because this is not a normal course. It's a serious study happening. And I give some exceptions, but you should not misuse it. Yes. Yeah, Kripa Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Mataji, Prabhupada says that sometimes we don't see the sun, even though it is there. So
Yes.
we come to know from the light of the sun that it is still there, even though it is covered by clouds.
Yes. Similarly, the consciousness is there, right? That means somebody is living. That means he's conscious. I mean, consciousness, the soul is there. Somebody is moving, somebody is growing. That means, so it seems that when we are having a cloudy day, when we wake up, we think there is no sun. No, because sunlight is coming, right? We can see things because of sunlight. Similarly, consciousness is there. It is said we can understand there is some consciousness in all the bodies, whether man or animal. We can understand the presence of soul. So consciousness is the symptom, right? We have defective senses, but that doesn't mean the sun is covered by the clouds. Our vision is covered by the clouds, right? And Prabhupada mentions about Anu Atma and Vibhu Atma. Anu Atma is the soul, Vibhu Atma is the super soul, Krishna. We are Anu, we are just minute, and Krishna is Vibhu. Okay, so Krishna defeats Arjuna's argument of compassion from 11 to 30. Okay, Krishna is defeating all these arguments. So Najayade Mriyate Va Kadashin. For the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. So Arjuna, why are you lamenting to kill the Kauravas, your cousins and everyone? Because you don't have to lament. There is no birth or death. A murderer should be condemned to death in his life. Otherwise, next day life, he'll have to suffer the reactions. So therefore, the king's punishment of hanging a murderer is beneficial. Similarly, when Krishna orders fighting, it is concluded violence is for supreme justice and Arjuna should follow. So what happens when Supreme Court judge or somebody give the sentence, a death sentence? It doesn't affect that judge because he is doing his duty. He is not favoring someone or not favoring anyone. Like he's not partial. Krishna is not partial based on the karma it happens. So it is said, it is good if you could, if you if somebody killed someone, a murderer, and then he's hanged this life, it is good for him because next life you don't have to suffer. So actually, law is good in the sense we sometimes feel why they have to put hang to death. Why they have to hang? They can just give lifetime imprisonment or something. No, the sin which they have done is so serious, severe that they might have to undergo so many reactions in next janma. So better finish it up in this janma. So one way reactions are better, because when you take money from the bank, what will happen? The money keeps decreasing. Similarly, when you are suffering your reaction, the sinful act, the reactions are coming down, decreasing. So pure devotees will suffer more. Devotees of Krishna suffer more. Not that, oh, I started chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, so my life is like very good, bindas. No, not like that. It's like you have these speed breakers, and you all have gone in an auto rickshaw and a speed breaker. It's like shaking. But then if you go in a Benz car in the speed breaker, you don't even realize, the speed breakers are there. So it's like, so that's the difference. I mean, the devotees don't realize what sufferings are, or external sufferings are not suffering for a devotee. It is said, Tattenu kambam susamikshamanam punjana evatmakritam vipakam Ritvakvapupi vidada namaste jive re muktipate sataya. But for a devotee, external sufferings like Prahlad and the Pandavas, the Kunti Maharani, they don't see the external things as the suffering. They think this is Krishna's special mercy. It's Krishna's special mercy. So that when we suffer, what happens? We become more close to Krishna. Just imagine all of us are very rich. Just imagine all of us are like highly qualified and we have no problems in life. I mean, our family and big house and car and everything we have, lavish life. I mean, so do you think you'll come to Krishna consciousness? No, you will be in your material life enjoying. No, so small sufferings are good. Yes, there are rare cases like people like Amrish Prabhu, who's the owner of Alfred Ford, the Ford company, who contributed like 500 crores to the Mayapur POVP. So he's rich and he's using the money to Krishna in Krishna service. That's a rare cases where there are pure devotees who do that, but not every time. Because if you are materially so happy and good in life, then you will never turn to Krishna. So small sufferings and small, especially during Corona times, many lost their job, many lost their loved ones and dear ones. Now, so many things happened, and that's the reason many came to Krishna consciousness, right? Including all of you, some of you in here in this class. I know some of you who came during the Corona time. Yeah, so you know how it changed your life. So definitely Krishna is doing everything for good. But at that time, you were like, why Lord God is doing this to me? No, you cried and you suffered and you felt very bad. Why Krishna is doing this to me? Why this is happening to me? Turn back. Corona was a blessing. So, okay, now I think we'll go to the sloka. Vasam sujirnani yata vihaya navani grihnati naro parani tata sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani grihi. As a person puts new garment, giving up the old ones, the soul similarly accepts new bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. This we know. The external body, the body is compared to an external dress. Okay. Okay, so as we know that we heard the drowning, a person is drowning and the external body is saved, like the external dress. So this body is like external dress. So once it is used up, once it's not to be used, the soul changes. So it is given example is the aroma of air. So what will happen if the air is coming from a kitchen? You'll have nice, if it is they're cooking some gulab jamun, nice smell comes. If the air comes from a garbage area, bad smell. The air comes from a garden of jasmine flowers, very nice smell. So does the air really have a smell? No, doesn't have any aroma, but it takes the aroma wherever it comes. Similarly, the soul doesn't have any particular body. It takes one body, leaves, takes another body, leaves. Like the air takes one smell, leaves. So the example that is given, I think later on Prabhupada mentions that. Transference of the atomic individual soul to another body is made possible by the grace of super soul. Super soul fulfills the desire of the soul as a friend fulfill the desire of another. So if we have desires, we should have nice desires, because Krishna is there in our heart as Paramatma. He is listening to that. He knows our desire. So he fulfills it, gives us that particular body with which we want to enjoy. So forgetfulness of the relationship of the soul and super soul is the problem, real problem, and cause of one changing his position from one tree to another, one body to another. Okay, so this is the example given. Soul and super soul are like two friendly birds sitting on the same tree, like soul and super soul. And one soul is busy eating the fruit, that's doing karma. The other soul is watching. Nainam chintanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavaka, nachainam klevyantyapo, nasho shredi maruda. The soul can never be cut into pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by many. These are the properties of the soul. So it is said, so Arjuna, why are you worried? With the Gandiva bow, you know you are going to kill the Kauravas, but then with your arrow, you're not able to kill them. You are just destroying the body, not the soul. Achetyo ayam adhayo ayam aklevyo ashoshaya evacha nitya sarvagada shanto achalo ayam shantana. This individual soul is unbreakable, insoluble, and can be neither burnt nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. Okay, so the living soul is unbreakable and insoluble, never be burned or dried. So the living entity is in the sun planet. So what's the example Prabhupada mentions about the living entities in the sun planet? Yes. If you have to go to the sun planet, what your body should be made of? By the way, did we really go to the moon planet?
Mataji, for sun planet, our body should be made up of Agni, the fire.
Ah, fire, yes. But what is our body made up of?
Panch Mahabhutas, 5 things: air, water, ether, earth, and
yes,
fire,
yes,
wind.
Good. Yeah. So it is said, Prabhupada says that with this Panchabhuta body, how can you go to the sun planet or the moon planet? If you have to go to the sun planet, your body should be made up of fire. Then only can you enter. If you have to go to the moon planet, your body should be made in some other constitution, not is Panchabhuta, something else. So did we really land in the moon? How did you read the book Easy Journey to Other Planets by Srila Prabhupada? If you read that book, you'll come to know we never landed in the moon. It is some other planet. I mean, you with this body, we can't go. We can't go. If you have to go to the heavenly moon, is compared to a heavenly planet. If you have to go to that planet, you should have particular karma and punya to go to that planet. In this particular body made up of earth, water, fire, air, ether, you can't even enter the moon planet. And it is said the moon planet, the lifespan is 10,000 years. If you have landed in the moon planet, why did you come down? Why did you come back? You have a lifespan is bigger there. Now, why did you come back? And it was also said, you say there is no living entities in the moon planet. Your eyes can't see. Your eyes is charma chakshus. Your eyes is defective. Your eyes is made up of panchabhutas. But might be in the moon planet there are living entities whose body is made up of some other constitution. I mean, and you can't see. No, and it is said that we really didn't go there. So I mean, science, it's just speculation, but then Shastra cannot be wrong. Prabhupada's like, I might be wrong, but Shastra cannot be wrong. But when Prabhupada said we really didn't go to the moon planet, many disciples left the movement. They were so angry at Prabhupada, and Prabhupada's like, I might be wrong. Shastra will be never wrong. So it's not possible to go there. So there's a breakout room discussion for 5 minutes. How is violence on the battlefield of Kurukshetra different from modern terrorism? In Kurukshetra also, Arjuna is going to kill all of them. In modern terrorism, like nowadays what's happening, different countries, and so many things are happening. How is this the war in the battlefield of Kurukshetra different from modern terrorism? So first part of the question is that, and discuss in your own words the following with reference to verses, analogies, and statements from Srila Prabhupada's purport. You can refer to point 2.1 and 2.7. Okay, got the question 2.1 and 2.7. Please mark the sloka, the purport. And then just explain this. How is violence on the battlefield of Kurukshetra different from modern terrorism? So we'll have a 5 minutes breakout room, quick breakout room. Okay. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna is all back. Not everyone is back. We'll have a quick discussion and then we can end the class. Yeah, so here Prabhupada also mentions the surgical operation is meant to kill the, not to kill the patient, but to cure the patient, right? The consciousness level. I forgot to mention that. The consciousness of a thief is different from a surgeon. Okay, like a surgeon is also having a scalpel or a knife with him. A thief is also having a knife with him. What is the difference? Right? The thief wants to hurt you, kill you, murder you, so that he just wants some money or something from you. So the consciousness is, with this knife, I want to kill someone or hurt someone. But the consciousness of a surgeon is, somehow I want to save this patient. When he's doing a surgery, he's like he wanted to save the person. So the similarity that is given between Arjuna and the surgeon is, even if he's a greatest surgeon, and I have seen personally that when his own relatives come, his hands will start shivering. That's normal. Just imagine a surgeon operating on his own daughter or son or his wife. Definitely they stay away, or sometimes they are really brave. Definitely they go for it. But then most of the time I've seen they have a substitute. They just stand as a bystander and someone else operate. Because that emotion, that thing is definitely there. And so even Arjuna have the same condition. He's a great fighter, he's a great Kshatriya, but then when his own cousins are there, his hands started shaking. So, okay, now who's going to explain about, so can we take from room number 1? Who's ready?
Hare
Yes.
Krishna, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji. So what we discussed is that like Kurukshetra war, it was Dharma Yuddha, in the sense like the long-term effect was to establish righteousness, even though like people
Yes.
were killed. But in World War, it's like it was for selfish motives, like within the
Yes.
countries,
Very good.
there was a war. And then the second thing is that like in Sloka 21, we saw that like a judge, he can order a person to be killed, because like
Yes.
he is in the authoritative position, and he is learned person, so he
Yes.
has the knowledge. In the same way in Kurukshetra, like Lord Krishna was there, and the battle happened under his direction, so he had the rights and like authority to conduct the entire war. But in World
Yes,
War,
Prabhu.
like there's like no kind of a
Nothing like
person. Yeah.
Okay. Good. So room number 4, is anyone ready? Prasad Prabhu, Samir Prabhu, Sarveshwari, Radhika.
Room number
Yes.
4, Mataji. We have discussed that the difference between the killing in terrorism and the difference between the killings in Mahabharata, Kurukshetra. Correct, na? That is actually in terrorism, it is meant for gaining some material benefits.
Yes.
Whereas in the Dharma Yuddha, like Kurukshetra battle, it is meant for establishing the Dharma. And also it is meant for obeying the instructions of Lord Sri Krishna by Arjuna.
Very good. That's a nice point. He's obeying the instruction of Krishna. That means it was Krishna's desire. So that means he was doing something in Krishna consciousness. So no karma binding him, right? No sinful this thing. But for the others, yes, it's just for material things. And what are they doing? They're thinking my country, your country. That's not there. No, we are spirit soul. So we doesn't based on the body, we should not distinguish. Yes, so that's a nice point. And the example they gave was the High Court judge. Did anyone get some other example? Room 2, room 3? Analogies. When you see analogies here, you have to quote the examples which Prabhupada have quoted.
One more additional point, Mataji. In Kurukshetra war, everybody got Sayuj Mukti because it was on order of Krishna. But here, there are no rules and regulations followed in the violence. Even women and children are impacted who are not fighting the battle, but their families are also destroyed. So there is no Mukti. It's all selfish, and karma is binding here.
And there's no Krishna there. So, but then Shraddha Mataji, I think I made it clear last time. It was not Sayuj Mukti, it's Sarupya they got. Even though they are demonic and even though they were not devotees, the mukti they got was Sarupya. Why? Does anyone remember the reasons which I gave? 2 reasons why Prabhupada mentions. Yes, Prabhu.
One reason is that they saw the 200 form of Krishna,
Yes.
Parthasarathi form of Krishna.
Yes.
Yes.
Second is?
Other, I don't remember.
What is the second reason? Does anyone remember? Who were Kauravas? Who were Kauravas to Krishna? Eternally. Are they normal demons? Are they normal people? No, they are
personal associate of.
Yes, Mataji. Yes, they are personal associates of Krishna. Definitely, when Krishna wants to go back, I mean, when the king goes somewhere, all the ministers follow. So similarly, when Krishna comes, he is not alone. Krishna means Krishna and his associates, devotees, definitely. So when Krishna wants to wind his pastime in material world and go back, what he'll do? He'll take. So when you got a transfer, you're shifting your job to another different place, you take the whole family, no? Do you leave them and go? No. So similarly, Krishna wants to go back to his eternal world and do his pastime. So they're all his eternal associates. He has to take all of them and go, right? So that's a Sarupya Mukti. And as Prabhu said, definitely they saw the Parthasarathi form, the 200 form of Krishna. And that was Krishna's special mercy on them because they are associates of Krishna. They're not normal people like Jaya Vijaya. They were Shishupal and Dandavaktra and Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, Ravan, Kumbhakarna. They all got special type of liberation. Why? Because they are associate Jaya Vijaya of Krishna. So we should know that it's and based on the desires, I want to say about Putana. I'll stop with this. So she had 2 desires. I mean, who was she in the previous life? Does anyone know? Putana, who came to give poison to Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. She was daughter of Bali, King Bali.
Yes. Yeah. Then what happened, Mataji?
Because she wanted Baman Dev to be her son because he was very so beautiful. But afterwards, when he took her father's property and all, she got very angry and she wanted to kill him.
So Ratnamala, that is Bali Maharaj's daughter, had 2 desires. That's what, whenever we desire something, we should know that Krishna is hearing or Krishna is, especially when you're chanting Hare Krishna, so many thoughts comes. And when something you desire while chanting Hare Krishna, bad or good, it seems sometimes it can happen because we are not pure devotees. But then Krishna, some might say Tatastu. So Ratnamala, when she saw the beautiful form of Vamanadev, cute form of dwarf form of Krishna, of the Lord, then Ratnamala had a desire. Oh, I wish I could feed my milk to this baby. And immediately when Vamanadev became huge and the 3rd step, he pushed Bali Maharaj to Sutala Lok, she became so angry and she's like, I want to give poison to this baby. So she had 2 desires. Krishna said Tadastu to both the desires. So she had to give her breast milk. She also had to give poison. So she came as Pudana in Dwapar Yuga in Krishna Leela, where she gave breast milk also along with that poison. So desires is very important. What desire you have in life, that's what takes us to the next life. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So can we have a, so is there any questions?
But the attendance form can be sent once more. Shraddha.
Yeah. Shraddha Mataji, can you?
Yes, Mataji, I'm sharing.
Yeah, I completely forgot. So at least weekly once you fill the sadhana chart, because I think 10% marks is also on the sadhana chart. So please try to fill it. And then attendance is also important. Yes, Samir Prabhu, what's the question?
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
Mataji, like we know, like most of we might like, how did we come down to the earth? Means, why did Jeev come down to the earth?
We all were in the spiritual world, Prabhu, enjoying with Krishna. But then we had some minute independence, some free will, okay, was given to us. Minute independence. Like your father gives you 10 rupees and tell whichever chocolate you want, you buy. He doesn't say specifically buy this chocolate. No, he gives you some independence. Similarly, Krishna gave us independence, but when we wanted to enjoy without Krishna, we thought like, why always Krishna, Krishna, Krishna? We can enjoy without him. So we had that desire to be independent. We didn't want to depend on Krishna. We wanted to enjoy this world. So Krishna created this material world in such a way, chalo, go enjoy. But then it's this place is actually made so that we repent for the mistake we did and we can go back. Why is the jail created in the material world. So the criminals who go to the jail, they realize their mistake, no, and they try to get out of the jail. So similarly, Krishna made this material world, and based on different karma, we are taking
transformation, madam. For transformation.
Yes,
for transformation, transformation by the criminals.
Yeah, for the transformation of the criminals. So definitely this material world is also like a jail, that we did some mistake in the spiritual world and we came down, we fell down, but then we realize it, and then we don't want to come back again, and then we try to go back. So it is said that we have already fallen in a well. Now don't sit and think how I can get out. I mean, how did I fall? Just try to get out of it. So this Krishna
Mataji,
consciousness is a rope.
I can't share the attendance form, Mataji. I've shared it with you.
Oh, sorry. I'll make you co-host. Oh, it's with me. Okay.
Mataji, can you send the link of the sadhana chart again? I'm having a problem filling it up. It was not opening. So I could not fill it up last week.
Yes. Pravina, are you doing that?
Kindly, yeah.
Sadhana chart.
If you can just send the link once again, Mataji, because I'll update my phone again. I'm having some problem with my phone. So last week
the same one which we had filled the week before last, I have just shared the same one twice. So we are able to fill that one. I just filled it today before the class.
Oh.
Okay,
Mataji, because...
Okay.
I had a question, Mataji.
Yes.
Like the remembrance and all is in the subtle right, like in the mind, but then sometimes like when there are some diseases and all, like Alzheimer's or something like that, when there's like damage to the neurons, like brain tissue, which is like in the gross body, like how does it affect the remembrance of a person?
Yeah, that's a nice question. So actually, if it is in the neurons, so it is in the subconscious level. I think it's not in the conscious layer thing, but then somewhere in the subconscious level it's there. It seems like for Alzheimer's, short-term memory loss, long-term memory loss, right? There are different types, and some of them, they doesn't have complete loss of memory. Some have like they forget only few years what happened, or some people forget the distant things. There is long-term memory loss, short-term memory loss, and sometimes they remember. Some of the family members, it seems, they remember. So it's not completely a loss, but then yes, physical things are also there, but the subtle body, the mind is there, no Prabhu. So the mind is always affected because we are in the gross body. Definitely there is an influence. It's not independent. The subtle body is not completely independent from the soul and the gross body. So subtle and gross body always, because whatever our mind thinks at the time of death, we get that particular body. How is that happening? So the subtle body and gross body have some connection, but your answer, I don't know the clear definition. I think we can ask now Mr. Prabhu to clear this.
Okay, Mataji, thank you.
So I'm not completely sure about why at that particular disease, why this happens. But then yes, in the mind is the actually remembrance coming, because in the gross body, there's no remembrance, no? Earth, water, fire, air, ether. And it is said that the brain matter is not the real type of intelligence, because when Daksha was doing yajna, Shiva came and took off his head, no, and gave goat head. Remember, in the goat head, Daksha could remember everything. Daksha, he was having a goat head. It's an animal, but he could remember Shiva. He could remember the yajna, the mantras which he was doing. Then in the purport, Prabhupada writes, the real intelligence is not in your brain matter. It is actually coming from the subtle body. So there's so many things which we really can't understand, but yes. Yes, Pravina Mataji, one last question, we can end.
Yeah, Mataji, actually my question is related to the earlier question. And although you have saying that there's no need to bother about why you came into this well, we should try only to do that. But still, sometimes I was saying, if we were in the spiritual world earlier, we keep saying that when you go back there, there's no return. It's a place where there's no return. Then how come we came here, when we were there, how did we come here? That question that was there. But like you said, we need not think about that question.
Yeah. So once you go, there's no coming back. But then if some criminal does some mistake, so it's for the good we are come here. Krishna is giving a sweet punishment to us. It's not that he don't like us to be in spiritual world. Krishna is like, okay, you want to enjoy. Krishna is a sweet friend. He just want to fulfill a desire. That's it, Mataji. So once we realize it, now we realize, we are in Krishna consciousness, we realize, oh, what am I doing here? I'm supposed to be in spiritual world with Krishna. Now you realize it. That's what Krishna was waiting for. So Krishna was waiting for that particular moment when you realize, when now your process of liberation starts. Now you won't come back again. So that's why Krishna consciousness is such a powerful process that it's going to take us back. And great acharyas like Srila Prabhupada and our gurus have given that mercy to us. So definitely, but most of them, and once one question was asked to Prabhupada, I think someone asked, Prabhupada, if everyone, the whole world become Krishna conscious, the whole world will be empty, no? What's the answer? All will go back to spiritual world, the world will be empty. Then?
There are millions and millions of universes and souls, so it will never be.
What, Mataji?
There are millions of universes and so many.
No, this particular universe, I'm talking about this particular universe will be empty, no? No, it will never be empty, it seems. Why? Because more and more people will do sin from the spiritual world and they'll fall. So more and more creation will happen. So it is said that when Lord Ramchandra wind up his pastime and went, he took the whole Ayodhya Vasis. But then there are still people in Ayodhya because sinful people might again come. So definitely the world is not going to be empty. Like the jail is never empty. How much ever criminals go out of the jail, new criminals keep coming. So we keep doing the mistakes. But then, once you go back, there's no coming back. But then, and even the human population is increasing because the plants and animals are becoming humans. And many animals are getting extinct, no? They're not to be seen again. And why? Because they're getting human form. Yes, Prabhu.
Mataji, actually, when we were discussing about in the breakout rooms, like we had a question, like if you see, for example, like this Catholics and then Islam people and all, they are like, some people are like very faithful to their religion, like what is there given in their scripture. So they are like completely satisfied that they do not commit any sinful activities, even if they're doing like meat eating or sometimes even terrorism also. But then like what will happen to them? Like, will they be punished because they think that they are like very faithful to their religion? According to their religion, they won't be punished.
Yes. But then Prabhupada says the first commandment in Bible is thou shalt not kill. But they don't follow it. And yes, Prabhupada says whichever religion you follow, the final goal is love of Godhead. You should attain the love of Godhead. But then if the meat eating happens, there's no mercy component. Now, how do you develop love of Godhead? So those people, it is said, unsuccessful yogis, Shuchinam Srimatam Gehe, they just get born in some transcendentalist family and then they can continue from where they stop. And for them, it's not spiritual world, Prabhu. They have heaven and hell, no? They believe in heaven and hell. We know heaven and hell is like temporary. You go and come down. So they might go to heaven planets because they are very pious and they're doing sukriti. But then again, they get a chance to take a rebirth. So something like that. So yes, we are not going against any religion. Prabhupada says, unless you develop love of Godhead, everyone is fine. But then each religion, some principles have to be followed. And Prabhupada, says, and there were some monastery people who came to Prabhupada and said, when Prabhupada said, thou shalt not kill, that is a commandment, and why do you eat animals? They say, animals doesn't have a soul. That's what they said. And Prabhupada said, what? Animals doesn't have a soul? You believe so? So according to them, they are right, but we know what scriptures say. So mostly they are unsuccessful yogis. We can say they don't reach perfection. They don't reach completion as a liberated state, because yes, sinful activity is one of the 4 regulative principles is that, right? So there are different things. That's why we can see many religious people are coming to Krishna consciousness. So it's not gold is gold. You can't say American gold or Indian gold. Similarly, Prabhupada says God is God. You can't say Christian God or Muslim God or Hindu God. God is God. So whatever you call him, God is God. So final, the aim is love of Godhead, but then they don't reach completion. You can't say 100% complete. Yeah, many have come to ISKCON. So Prabhupada was said that, many were saying to Prabhupada, did you come to change people to your religion? Prabhupada said, what is religion? This is all made by human beings. No? God is one. Okay. So we can end here. Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for joining. Vancha kalpadruvascha kripa sindhu